Good afternoon to all present here as well as who will listen these lectures. So today's with us our respected Dr. Omprakash Tanwar. Before proceeding further, let's give a precise introduction of our respected sir. Sir is working as assistant professor at Department of Pharmacy, Shri GS Institute of Technology, Indore, MP. He has completed his PhD from Jamia Hamdard, New Delhi. Then he worked in drug delivery for almost 5 years and Pyramid Discovery Solutions, Ahmedabad, and TCG Life Science, Kolkata. His subject specialty is medicinals and homeopathic chemistry. And beside of this, he has published more than 25 research and review articles in reputed journals. And I congratulate to sir because sir has recently spent 5 months in University of Oxford, UK as SIE fellow. So this is the one of the big achievements, sir. So please, sir, enlighten us with your valuable talk. So please start.
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल फॉर गिविंग मी दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी और सबसे पहले मैं सर को प्रणाम करूंगा क्योंकि हमारे गुरुजी रहे हैं और सर की वजह
Welcome,
से
Dr.
मैं बहुत कुछ
Omprakash ji, from my core of my heart. As you know that ISF College always connect with the good peoples like you. So I also convey regard to your head of the department, and I also want of the one MOU with the SGSITS. So because I know that you are doing good job and you are in the hub of the industry. So if we can do some of the collaborative work in the coming days. So please proceed and we can connect on the telephonically with you. Okay.
डेफिनेटली सर डेफिनेटली
Thank
इट
you.
वुड बी
Thank
माय
you.
प्लेजर सर सो सो शैल वी स्टार्ट सर
Yes, please, sir.
सर जस्ट थोड़ा सा मुझे पता करना है कि इज देयर एनी स्टूडेंट्स आल्सो इन दिस टीम और
Yes, sir. Students are also there.
ओके
Approximate
ग्रेट
8 9 students are also there.
okay so is there branch specific or general like every
From
branch
history also, civics also, different culture.
okay so that I can understand who is there and what should I deliver. Okay, this is great. So let's start. So sir, may I I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, please, sir.
So is it visible
Yes, sir.
and I'm audible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So good afternoon everyone. I'm Dr. Omprakash, as already mentioned by sir and director sir. So what I am going to do is today is I'll tell you like how to prepare your master's research project and maybe some kind of overview or a guideline. That's it. But before that, if I can interact any one of the students uh, uh, in this panel, so that I can understand what you are willing to learn, and then I'll divert my talk accordingly. Sir, anyone can unmute.
Yes, sir. Our student. Yes, please. Yes, sir. You may ask, please.
Yes, just I want to learn like why they are here, so that I can understand. Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
They can unmute anyone. Anyone can unmute. Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, we are in the tenth level.
Your voice is cracking. Actually. Okay. Let's suppose they are here to learn about their future project, right? Sir, pardon me if my voice is little low because I am having little fever because this like viral fever is going on in my family and everyone is like little feverish. So pardon me for that. Yeah. So let's get started. Yeah. So my contents of the topic is like overview. You will understand the research, what is research project, and how can we select the problem statement or a theme of the project. Then what is research project proposal, and how can you plan and organize your research project, and how to do literature search, how to manage references, etc. I might not be able to go till the end, but I'll try to complete the things very as soon as possible. So the overview, understanding. So understanding the research project. So if I may ask anyone, or if they can unmute and tell me, like, why do you want to do research project? If somebody is willing to tell me why anyone wants to do research project, if someone can tell me. No. So generally, why we do research project? Because we solve any problem, right? Yes. Anyone wish to tell? Hello.
Yes, sir. One student is ready.
Yes. Just tell me why you want to do a research project. Sir, I want this session to be interactive, so that just I just only not speaking only, and just people will listening. So that's why, as I mentioned earlier, because it will be just like one way conversation. Nothing will be like that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Sarmil. Okay, so the voice is too much. Okay, so let me continue only. Let not be disturbed by others. Okay. So why we do research project? Because we want to solve some problems, or we want to contribute to the society in some extent, so that our next generations will get some better medicines or something like that. So but we have to remember, like, good observation and critical thinking are the secret weapons for the research and discovery. Why I am saying this? Because you might know how penicillin was discovered, or may not know. Let me tell you the short story. So Alexander Fleming was doing his research in his lab and got frustrated from his work. He was not getting any results. So he left the things as such and went for a leave 1 week. And then when he came back, he found he was just wiping out something. But he he observed, sorry. Yeah, so he observed one thing. One of his petri dish has got some kind of zone of inhibition, or you may say one bacteria killed other bacteria. And then he thought, why is that happen? Then, long story short, we are having a lot of penicillin or cephalosporin antibiotics because of his only just critical observation, a good observation, and about his critical thinking. Why is this happening? So the best scientists need not necessarily have the great knowledge, but they are a good observer and they are critical thinker. Because if you say that microbial strain that is found in thousands of thousand in one, like that, so you need a good observation. And then the next skill you will require is, or you need is, it's a kind of curiosity and courage, right? So you need courage to take big responsibility. This is a big responsibility, because we are in health sector, so we have to choose the things wisely, because we are going to invest a lot of money, time, and everything of our most productive age. So you must have curiosity and courage to handle a problem. And then you have to think like outside of the box, not just like, if I tell about the chemistry, just like changing the R group or functional group will give you the best compound. Or if I talk about the pharmaceutics, changing the API will give you the best result. So think beyond your or beyond out of the box so that you can get something different, just not the similar kind of thing. So that is another important thing. And you have to ask, like, will my research project benefit the community I live with? Yes, this is a very important question, because if I do the research and it's of no use, so my time and money all go in vain. So that's what very important thing. Then let's see how to select the problem statement. What I mean problem statement is what you are going to do and why. So a problem statement is a concise description of the problem or issue a project seeks to address. Means what thing or which project you are going to do here, right? So the concise description of the problem or issue a project seeks to address. Okay. So then, what questions you must ask before going into the or before selecting the project statement or the type of project? So what is my subject and my interest and my skills? So this is what you have to first ask with yourself before going into the project. Such as like if my subject is pharmaceutical chemistry, and if what I can do in this subject and what is my interest. Like in pharmaceutical chemistry, there may be analytical chemistry, the drug discovery, or there are many kind of like pharmacovigilance, something like that, in a side by side also. So that's one thing. And what are the current hot topics in my subject? Or like if we talk about pharmaceutics, nanoparticles, and like targeting, and there are many topics could be there. Like, so those you have to see, and what is going on in the field, and how can I add value to the society, or what is lacking, so that if I do that work, that will fulfill the gaps. It can be a scientific society, or it can be our general society. So then next question will be, is this relevant problem statement to my institute, supervisor, or my skill? I cannot select a problem, or I cannot select a topic which is not relevant to my knowledge of my supervisor, or the knowledge of my own, or my subject, or something like that. So in this way, you can bring up like 5 to 10 numbers of the project statement, or you discuss with your supervisor what could be the possible uh, project you want me to do, or something like that. Then you have to like narrow down the choosing the best and plausible ones. So once if you have got some kind of like list of the project, or maybe it's a rough list, maybe you can say like 5 to 10, then you have to narrow it down to smaller numbers, more manageable list. Then how can we do that? So select the topics most interesting and relevant to your field of study. Don't just look at the internet and see what is there and just select it. It must resonate with your skills, with your knowledge, with your field. Then only you have to select. Then you must see the project feasibility. Is it feasible at your given time frame and given resources? If not, what kind of things or what kind of collaborations I need to have for completing my research project, right? Because this is very important point. So feasibility is very important. If you can do it, then it's a good project. If you cannot do it, it's a bad project, simply. Then rank all the topics you have narrowed down based on the importance, interest, and feasibility. What is important for you, what is your interest, and if it is possible with the given frameworks, with given resources, and all sort of things. So it will help you to make better decisions. Once you got like top 2 to 3 topics, then you can finalize the topics by asking something like this. So so you must, the project must be focused, right? Focus means you must have specific goals, And one more thing I would like to tell you here is avoid thinking that your research gonna change this world, or you gonna get the Nobel Prize. Be realistic. Be focused on some small objectives or aims and goals, so that your project is complete. And once a small project is complete, you will get more confident, and your confidence can lead to further or future better projects, right? Then comes to feasibility. We already discussed that your project must be feasible at available resources and skill sets. And then you must ask about the timelines, or you must set the timelines, because I think, sir, like 1 year for the project, right? Amardeep, sir, for inform. Hello.
Yes, please, sir. Continue, please, sir. Yes.
1 year for project, right? To master's project. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
In that case, you have 1 year for the project, right?
So sorry, not getting what you're saying.
लाइक प्रोजेक्ट कितने महीने का या कितने साल का है यहाँ
Sir, in case of MPharm, third semester and fourth semester will be completely for the students.
पे
We
लाइक
can say
फॉर द
that
प्रोजेक्ट
for 1 hour,
यस 1 year
1 year, simply.
okay yes so your project must be time bound. You cannot choose a project like for a PhD. For like if you're doing masters, and if you choose the timeline for 3 4 years, then that is not. I won't suggest that, because you have to know like what is my project and how much time it is going to take, and finally the cost. So if you check all these things, and you get the idea what best suits for your project, and having all these conditions fulfilled, right? Okay. Then once you get the final one, then criticize yourself again by asking what kind of help and resources you will need from your peers and department. Is there any instrument, or is there any technique which is not available in your department you want to use from others, so that you must know beforehand, because last time results will not happen. And the last and most crucial step is, does this topic excite me? So if it excites you, the final selection, then only you have to do. Otherwise, go and repeat the steps which I mentioned earlier. Okay. So we have discussed that we have to select the topic which is feasible, which is time bound, which is specific and cost effective. If not, then you have to repeat the things again and again and select the best project. Or sometimes your research supervisor will tell you what to do, and you don't need to do anything. But it is good to select by yourself, because if it is your topic, then you tend to do more efforts than if your supervisor gives you the topic. Okay. Then how should your research project look like? So what is research project? Means what is the project proposal, if I may say correctly. So once you are being diverted to your supervisors, or maybe you select your supervisors, whatever, I don't know what is the procedure, then you have to, like, you might be given some time to prepare your research project proposal. So what should be included in your research project proposal? So this is the list. I'll tell you number of points. So you might write all the points, so that will help you to make your research project proposal very neat and clean. So the title, how your project title should be. A title of your research topic must be concise and articulate the aims clearly. Means aims and objectives. What are aims and objectives? You can write it one or two lines, something like that. So objectives. This is a very important point, and the objectives must be smart. I think all of the student in ISF Moga are smart, But here smart means specific, who and what to do. Measurable, can we measure by how much. Achievable, how, कैसे करना है. Realistic, why. And timely, when to complete. So if I see, if you can propose 3 to 4 bullet point, so your objectives must be aligned to these smarts. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant or realistic, and time based. So let me tell you one example of smart objectives. If you can see this, this is a big list actually, and these are non-smart objectives. These are smart objectives. Let me see what. Let me tell you what is mean by all the terms. Okay, so generally people like this is for chemistry. You can manage like by saying it is physics or cognosy or whatever the subject you have. So because I'm from chemistry, so I made this for like drug discovery project. So identify some novel anti-diabetic agent using structure-based drug design. So this is very generic. There's nothing specified in here. So no target is mentioned. So if you want to be specific, what can you do? So make it like very specific or smart. So the first is specific. Identify novel DP4 inhibitors through structure-based drug design techniques. So what I mentioned here, I mentioned the target. So it's now antidiabetic has a lot of targets, but here I mentioned the one of the targets which is very specific, and I'll design and synthesize only DP4 inhibitors. Right? You might get it. Then if I may say like for pharmaceutics, what could be the smart or specific objective? Like if I say like to develop a formulation using excipients, like that. So what can you specify here? You can specify the excipient name and the drug name. So you will get the smart objective tag in this one. Then how can we prepare a measurable objective. Measure करना means वो कहीं ना कहीं उसको काउंटेबल किया जा सके या काउंट किया जा सके, how much. So the next objective can be screen large library of compounds and find potential antidiabetic. Large library, there is no numbers, and how many leads I want to select. So what can I do here? Measurable. Screen Maybridge library that has like 1 lakh, 10 lakh, or whatever the compounds using molecular modeling techniques, and identify minimum 10 lead compounds. So I added some kind of measures here. What I added, the size of library and number of leads. So this is how you can prepare smart object like measurable. Then develop the best drug design. Another can be like achievable and realistic. Develop the best drug design protocols and find most potent one. What is missing is non-achievable and unrealistic. I don't know whether it is real or achievable. So develop the robust molecular docking virtual screening protocol by utilizing available. Like available means here you are becoming realistic. If you have it, you can achieve it. Okay, and then validate the drugs again, antibiotic drugs. So this looks realistic, right? So you will validate it, and then you will use uh, the tools and available tools. So this is how you can make it achievable and realistic. And then finally, which is very important, discover new antibiotic agents through virtual screening. How, when, I don't know. So you have to say the complete the virtual screening and molecular docking experiment for the focused compound life within 6 months. Means the initial work you will be completing within 6 months, and then rest for your synthesis and other things. So I think this is okay for you guys because smart objectives will tell you how, when, which target, and is it really achievable or not. So in this way you can prepare your objectives very nicely. Hope you guys are getting the things right. So then the rationale of study, research envisage, you can say research what are the gaps in your field, and how you gonna fill the gaps. Basically, why you have chosen this project. People will say, I chosen this target because that drug is reported. I want to change this drug. This is not the way to say why you choose the project. You must say that this drug has the problem of like release pattern or the degradation. So I want to reduce the degradation, or I want to improve the release pattern or viability. Then there is a gap, and you how you want to fill the gap. This will help you. And uh, most of the panel now says that there is no relevance because your project, your rationale is not good. And rationale you can develop by large number of literature. So background of the literature or literature review. This will provide you the gaps in your field and how you gonna fill the gaps. So if you read, then you will get to know what are the current issues or current problem in knowledge and how to solve the problem state. This is another very important. So more you read, the better the project will be, right? Then how you gonna do it? Suppose you selected the topic and you did the literature survey, everything. So from the literature survey, you will get to know what are the experimental procedures and how you gonna do it. So you can write 2 to 3 pages. This must be aligned with your research objectives. Means whatever the research objectives you mentioned in the smart objectives, so your methodology should correlate with those objectives. Suppose you are doing virtual screening, so your experimental methodology should include the virtual screening method and validation. Then your methods or experimental protocol should say how you validate it, how you will analyze the results. Okay, so how you intend to undertake the study or complete the objectives is what should be included in this. What are the methods you will use? What data you will collect? All these information you will get from your literature. So read the literature very carefully. How will you analyze the literature? What kind of softwares you will need? If your project include any form of experimental work, the use of any data collection or analysis equipments, you need to provide detailed and precise list of what you will need. Means suppose you are going to do formulation studies, and then you have to see if it is going to release have some release pattern or resolution or whatever. Do you have the list of experimental equipments? Then it will help you to decide and see if that project can be done in your organization or you need some collaborations. And finally, a proposed timeline. As I already mentioned, you cannot do the research like if you have 1 year, so you cannot decide the project of 2 years or 3 years like PhD. And if you are in PhD, so you cannot decide to do complete or in your PhD in 10 8 10 years. So there should be some time bound thing. This will help you to uh, to realize how much time it will take and how are you going to do it. So how you define a project proposal line, like the Gantt charts. What is Gantt chart? And finally, you will have references. We'll tell you about that later on. So Gantt chart is something uh, like timelines, which phase or which part of my study will take how much time. So this is very simplest Gantt chart, if I may say. So phase one will take around 6 months. Sorry, yeah, 6 months, and then phase two will take another 6 months, right? So in this way, you just say my suppose if you are in third semester you will do literature, you will do you will make proposals and something, and then in the phase 2 you will do experimental and results and everything. So this way you can make a simplest game. But this is not the complete one. If I show you the complete or complex Gantt chart, so it looks like this. Although this is what I made in my Oxford University project, but this is not for you. But at least you must understand what. Suppose I'm doing a 2 year research. Okay, so I divided the things in like 12 months first year, then 12 months second year. Then what I did, I started making some work packages. Suppose like I'll do literature, I'll do experiments, and then I'll do again literature and experiment, like revising things. So I'll have something like that. And milestone, what are the milestone I'll have, like within 6 months, like for you guys, I may say that within 6 months you must have um, a review article within 6 months of your project. So that will help you to develop the flow, as well as you will build the confidence of writing, and that review will help you in writing your thesis. So there are many things. So you must have milestones or decision points, and then you must target for at least one or two papers during your project, so that at the middle of the project you'll have one review, and at the end of the project you will have one research paper, or maybe after that. So in this way you will make a little complex one, but that helps you and let you know what are the exact points, or where I have to model my time. Hope you guys are listening. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Right, the flow is okay, sir?
Sir, definitely. Good. Good.
Okay. Okay, so the next point is planning and organizing research project. How can we plan and organize our research project? So in this, there's one thing: planning and planning. Revise planning and do planning and plan. Whether your research is for masters or doctoral thesis, you need careful planning and organization. Right? How? So end in mind means, what is end in mind thing? Means suppose this is August, and next year August your project should complete. So give a time frame in which you will say this is my endpoint, August. Sorry, my writing is not that good. So August 2024, right? So how many months I have from here, how many months, and what is my middle point? So what I have to do here and what I have to do here. So you have to plan, or you sit with your professor and tell, sir, I have this much time, then I must be ready in like 1st of August with my presentation. So what shall I do? So I must have like 15 days to make my presentation, 15 to 20 days, or maybe 1 month for my thesis making, or 15 days, or maybe okay, like that's it, or maybe like 15 to 20 days for presentation and your uh, your thesis. So you will decide, this month I'm not going to do, or lastly I'm not going to do any research or in the lab work. And then you decide, like I'll have like 5 to 6 months of time where I'll do my most of my research work or lab work here, and then come back, then say I'll do my literature, I'll do prepare my proposal, and whatever the things are required in this time zone, so I'll do that. Or maybe I'll write paper, or maybe you can extend this to here, so that your most of the time goes in the lab. In this way, you are deciding the time frame. Okay. So you need to plan accordingly. So therefore, you must prepare a project which can be completed within time limits of your master's curriculum. Otherwise, you will not see any progress, or maybe you will extend your project beyond your time limits, and you will end up with frustration because most of your classmates will leave and they will have jobs, and then you will end up with frustration. So there are 10 stages in a research project, for doing the research project. So we have already discussed choosing the project, already discussed it. Then initial literature review, I already mentioned it. So give most of your time for this stage. Why? Because almost like Japanese spend more of their time in doing literature, like 50 to 60. Why? Because they read, and because of that reading, you will have like 2 to 3 advantages. If you read it, your project will be perfect. If you read it, you can prepare a review. That is another kind of publication. If you read and write it, then you will add the same thing in your research thesis, and it will give you more confidence of doing the work if you don't read it. So that's why I mostly say you must read, and read. And early stage, at least, you must read and keep revising the things, right? What research has been undertaken, like initial literature, what you're going to see is what are the gaps in, I already mentioned, and how can you fill the gaps. Okay, then literature also should say you methods to use and how can you do that, and uh, like what are the important things you need to complete the thing. So literature will tell you the things very nicely. So the best thing is, it is wise to, or and better to fail early stages of your project than failing at the later. Suppose you started doing one project, and one of the paper you didn't read, or something you didn't read, and it says you need the instrument which is of 1 crore, and because of without that you cannot complete the project, so you will end up with nothing. So better to read, or better to fail early, fail fast, so that you will not have regret at the end, and you will go with happy face, right? You must have happy face. Okay. Then identifying and finalizing research questions, research objectives, ये हमने already कर लिया है. Stage 4, choosing and developing methodology. वो हमने अभी देखा कि भाई कैसे methodologies को कैसे चूज करते हैं, लिटरेचर क्या क्या कहता है, and then best approach to enable, like what is the best thing I have to do to complete my research, or to complete my aims and objectives. So you'll find these from your project. Then piloting the methodology. Once you are finishing the literature, then what you to do is you have to do a trial or piloting. You can say piloting means you're testing your methods, or you're trying to see whether whatever the research or whatever the literature has reported is going to work in my case or not. So this is very important here, because scientific literature is filled with garbage, and sometimes the same thing reported won't work in your lab. So you have to model. You should model like what is required for my work, and is there anything missing. So if you do it piloting, then you will get to know what is missing and what I should add, or what I should do. And it also suggests that changes and modification in the method you're using, and sometimes or something very essential process are missing. So like in chemistry, if I say some reaction is mentioned, they just say you add this and do the workup. Sometimes they stop, yeah, they don't explain everything, and you will miss the essential thing. Once you do it, you will get to know whether it is possible or not. And data collection. These are all things I'm mentioning for your project ongoing things now. So if you started the work, then you are collecting some data, like formulations, how much time you take this. And for like chemistry, you should check the RF value, TLC, and like how much time it took to complete the reaction, and like pharmacognosy people, like how much time you did the oxalate and how much solvent you took. So all kind of data you have to note it down, make it clear, legible, so that you can understand when it is required. Do not try to remember the data, as you may forget them soon. Write them in your notebook so that you will it will remain for. Most of the people do this, and I also used to do this. But mind it, you cannot remember scientific data for a long time, even for a week. You'll forget the TLC, you'll forget the time and everything. So it's better to remember and have a time and date mentioned, because once you make something and something good comes, then people will try to apply for patents. So that time your notebook and your time and date stamp will have. Suppose someone else has done the same thing, but if you have the notebook and you mention the time and date, then it helps you a lot. Then organizing the data collection. Once you have the data, then you have to organize. So like it will help you to write your thesis and writing your papers. So if you have good organization skills, then you'll write very easily. Otherwise you will tend to search for the data a long time, and sometimes you miss the important data. So organizing the data and collecting is very important. Then data analysis. You might you will sometimes you need some kind of softwares like GraphPad, R software, something like that, Excel, to analyze the data. Here I want to emphasize one thing: a wrong data interpretation or wrong data analysis may lead to wrong direction in a good or best research, or it may make your research insignificant. Because here the stats is involved. So you have to be very careful, and you must connect with some of seniors and some experts, so that how can I analyze my data. Here it helps a lot. So do take help from your peers who know how to interpret it. Then drawing conclusion and interpretation. This is the last thing of your thesis. So connect and close the things by answering, like you must have the answer of your research proposal, or the research question or problem statement. If you are able to do it, that's okay. If you're not able to do, like if you're not able to find the answer, don't don't involve in like writing the wrong things, because negative results are also important. Means sometimes people will not go if you say this road is blocked. So saying no is not bad, right? So you can draw negative results also, or conclusion that this I did this and this didn't work. And if the supervisor is okay, or he or she should be okay, because this is science, right? So it's not guarantee that whatever the project you're doing should be the perfect one. Sometimes it happens. So be ready for that. You can certainly take help from your peers for presenting the results in the right format. You can use different methods, showcase your results like tablets, graphs, and charts. Then final thesis, you have to write the final thesis. I would suggest you to make or prepare a thesis, like it should be storytelling. Why should one read your thesis, right? Hello.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, please, sir. Please ask.
Hmm. Is there any question?
Yes, uh, yes, sir. There are two, three questions by students. Sir, first they are
Okay.
saying that sir, is there any kind of availability of new software which help to sort out the research in initial?
Research in initial. I'm not getting it correctly.
Sir,
Means
for example,
like,
if we talk about the new softwares, ChatGPT is there. Sir, I have also read in somewhere.
hello. The voice is not audible. I'm not.
Answers to you.
I'm. सर बीच में वॉइस ब्रेक हो गया था. हाँ सर, फिर से रिपीट करें. Like you are asking, like some software is there who can
Comment in chat
help.
box.
Yes, it's better to like write the questions in chat box. Any software like for identifying the problem statement or what? For initial research. Okay, so I don't know if I can answer this perfectly, but if, as you mentioned, like Chat GPT is there, there are many GPTs like chatbots are there. I think you are asking like whether they can help me in my initial research.
Yes.
Okay, so it depends. Like there are many softwares, and they can give you if you can ask the correct question. If you ask the wrong question, there is no one sitting there, and there's no one watching your question. It's a command. It's your questions are commands only. So if your commands are good, then you can expect the best result. But if your commands are bad, then you can expect the worst of the worst things. Well, I used like ChatGPT, and if I ask like tell me about the new research going on in this field, because it has got like the free version is limited like 2021, so it cannot give you the latest results. So don't fully rely on the software, but the chatbots are best at optimizing the content. That's what they do best. If you ask them the question, what should I do, so then they will do the blunders. So I would recommend that you just use it, like make them your servant, not the owner. Otherwise it will make some kind of blunders only. Yes
Okay,
sir.
okay.
Anything else?
Yes, sir. I think, sir, most of things are clear. Sir, rest of thing will be more feasible when we have this session with the YouTube link. It can be,
Okay.
we can say, revise them, listen it carefully for the more. So, dear audience,
Your voice is not, sir. You're muted.
of our sir, yes.
Yeah. Yes sir.
So, thank you so much, sir, for your valuable talk and for your sir valuable time. So,
Okay sir. No issues
yes,
sir. It's my
thank you,
pleasure to be
thank you,
here. Yes
thank
sir.
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you sir. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Bye bye.